Friday, December 2. From The Great Controversy, page 545, we read, "Upon the fundamental error of natural immortality rests the doctrine of consciousness in death, a doctrine, like eternal torment, opposed to the teachings of the Scriptures, to the dictates of reason, and to our feelings of humanity. According to the popular belief, the redeemed in heaven are acquainted with all that takes place on the earth, and especially with the lives of the friends whom they've left behind. But how could it be a source of happiness to the dead to know the troubles of the living, to witness the sins committed by their own loved ones, and to see them enduring all the sorrows, disappointments, and anguish of life? How much of heaven's bliss would be enjoyed by those who were hovering over their friends on earth? And how utterly revolting is the belief that as soon as the breath leaves the body, the soul of the impenitent is consigned to the flames of hell. To what depths of anguish must those be plunged who see their friends passing to the grave unprepared, to enter upon an eternity of woe and sin." End of quote. And that brings us to our 3 discussion questions for this week. 1. Those who have talked to other Christians about the state of the dead and the nature of hell have most likely discovered just how adamant and firm people are in their belief, not only in the idea that the saved immediately go to heaven, but also that the lost are in the eternal torment of hell. Why do you think that is? It's one thing, understandable somewhat, for them to want to believe that their deceased loved ones are with the Lord, though, as we've seen, there's still the question of how upsetting it would be for them to see the mess of things down here. But why is there such a strong attachment to the horrific idea that the lost are being eternally tormented in hell? What does this fact teach us about just how powerful tradition can be? Discuss this in class. 2. Most Christian denominations are proclaiming the unbiblical theory of the natural immortality of the soul with all its correlated theories. What else should we do as a church, in addition to what we are already doing, to proclaim to the world the biblical view of death and the afterlife? And 3. Though Dante's poem, The Divine Comedy, was mere fiction, it became very influential in helping cement in people's minds false teachings about what happens to the soul after death. What lessons can we learn from how easily Christian theology can be influenced by outside teachings? What other non-Christian ideas influence Christian thought even today? And how can we protect ourselves from them? And now it's time for Inside Story with Sibylla. Thank you, Sibylla.
Modesty, Modesty, Modesty by the Ochrane Matengu. People came in a seemingly constant procession to look pityingly on 2-year-old Akurios in the hospital in Katima Mulilo, Nambia. The boy had been ill for months, and the people wept as they saw his terrible pain. "The hospital is failing us," one told Akurios' parents. "You should consult with the witch doctor." "God will understand," said another. "Just do it." After the last visitor left, father turned to mother. "What should we do?" he said. "Maybe the people are right. Jesus will understand." Mother couldn't bear to see her only child in pain. She agreed. The witch doctor declared that witches had cast an evil spell on the boy, and that he would recover with traditional medicine. The parents bought the witch doctor's medicine and gave some to the boy daily. But the more medicine they gave, the worse he got. Father began to pray earnestly. "Lord Jesus, I know I've made a mistake," he said. "I departed from your saving grace. Speak to me, Lord, for the sake of my child. You healed lepers and made the blind to see and the lame to walk. Do that for my child too." A short time later, father had a dream. As he slept, he heard a voice call him by his name, Modesty. "Modesty, Modesty, Modesty," the voice said. "This is my child. Why have you tainted him with evil spirits? I don't want you to be involved with any witch doctors if you want him to live." Shaken, Father got up and threw away the traditional medicine. He remembered hearing a Seventh-day Adventist physician give health presentations at camp meeting, and he took the boy to him. The physician diagnosed Akurios with pneumonia and tuberculosis and sent him to a hospital where he could be treated. Father continued to pray, and Mother joined him. They placed their full trust in Jesus. Akurios now is 22. Akurios' parents, Modesty and Rebecca Kakula, went on to have 4 more children. But with the birth of each child, they refused to take part in the traditional ceremony that townspeople hold for newborns. Instead, they took their babies to the Seventh-day Adventist Church to be dedicated to Jesus. For this mission story, the reader is asked to pray for people who sincerely accept Jesus but struggle to forsake traditions fully. These people end up with 2 levels of religion: a theoretical religion based on the Bible and a practical religion grounded in culture. They embrace Bible teachings, but when faced with real-life challenges, revert to tradition. Seventh-day Adventist missionaries seek to contextualize the gospel to facilitate personal Christian growth among these people and to help them realize that traditional practices don't work. Thank you for your mission offerings that help spread a contextualized gospel around the world.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.